This is Rat Pack Radio, the internet radio station that brings you everything from the top hits of music.
Hey guys, this is Bruno Mars.
To Sports Talk Radio.
With the first pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams select Jared Goff, quarterback, California.
We are here for you, WRPR Rat Pack Radio. Come join the pack.
You're listening to WRPR Rat Pack Radio. Come join the pack. You're listening to Rat Pack Sports Show on WRPR Rat Pack Radio.
Blue, you're my boy!
A genius, a man who has a reputation to be the best at what he does.
You see, a man has to realize his limitations. You don't know me, and you don't know what I'm capable of.
That was a heck of an effort.
This house is a prison, and the galaxy of this sucks.
You're free enough.
That is over. When I say it is over, I will massacre you.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Are you not entertained?
I'd say in a given week, I probably only do about 15 minutes of real, actual work.
That's how I roll. Offensive.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Live that drive. Way back. MIT. It could be.
This is my favorite part coming up right now.
All right. Rat Pack Sports Show. We are back. We are live Sunday night. Rat Pack Radio, WRPR, NFL Sunday. Been a little minute, but we here. And we're going to bring you the way we do every week, give you the best there is in sports talk and entertainment. We are live. Rat Pack Radio, WRPR, also streaming on the Rat Pack Radio, WRPR app, and also live on ratpacksports.com audio and video feed as well. We are live on the video tonight, and we're going to talk some NFL. Sunday nights is NFL night, so we really won't get into any other sports. We may, but the focus is NFL. We're going to talk NFL. So that's what we're going to do tonight, because we're getting close, and we're getting close to the playoffs. We got about a month left in the season, and a lot happening. I'll just say that, as a Bucs fan, we're going to get into them a lot tonight. As a matter of fact, the majority of the conversation might just be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and what I expected for them going over to the West Coast and playing against a juggernaut of a defense and the San Francisco 49ers and what the 49ers did with a Mr. Irrelevant rookie quarterback that, went last pick of the draft. And this guy came in last week. I knew last week after him coming in and doing pretty well. Basically played the full game. Garoppolo was hurt early in the fourth in the first quarter of that game last week, and Garoppolo came in and did a great job of orchestrating their offense, making plays, and ultimately winning the game, by double digits as they have done in the last 6 games. So, but that was a little bit of the story. The other part of the story is the inept ability of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense to make plays and find some protection, find some cohesion, find some timing, some chemistry, uh, to put a better product on the field that they've displayed so far in this season, even with Tom Brady as the quarterback. Who, listen, we could make all the excuses and say everything that you want, but at the end of the day, um, Tom Brady is the one of the top quarterbacks to ever play this game, even as a 45-year-old quarterback and a guy who, um, you know, made things happen for 20 plus years in New England. But all of a sudden, it's not. I guess he's not good. Last season he was, still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. His numbers this season still has him in the top, 15, 10 numbers wise. But apparently this Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan base tends to think that we're a franchise that has been quarterback rich, and we just know what we're talking about when it comes to playing the quarterback position. We haven't had a dude who real good in a very long time. Brad Johnson won us a Super Bowl. And I think during those years where Brad Johnson was the quarterback, he wasn't even a top quarterback at that time. He was on the downside of his career. But, you know, moral of the story is this. And we'll get into some other games as well. I just want to touch on this real quick. Hopefully we get William Graves in and Boss Hog, Sean Naylor as well, and get their opinion and into all this. But this, more of the story is this: when you have a great team, there's pieces in place of any great team that allows you to be that great team. And at the end of the day, these games you win and lose in the trenches. You win and lose in the trenches. And if you can't win in the trenches, then you can't win a lot of ball games. That's just the way it goes. You do not have a chance to be a great team if you can't win in the trenches. Am I speaking a different language here, or do people just forget the game? I've never seen I've never a top quarterback in this league be productive without a stout offensive line? Good, stellar, stout, great, however you want to put it. You do not have a chance to be great if your offensive line struggles the way that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line, has struggled this season. And I know there's been times where we've been, pretty good and had games where we've been consistent and done some things, but at the same time, it's not been consistent enough to where you're gonna put yourself in the top half of the league from an offensive standpoint. We cannot run the ball. We've had a few games where we've run the ball great, but you can't call yourself a good running football team if you cannot run the ball. We have a young quarterback and a young running back in White who's done some really good things in the split time he's got with Leonard Fournette over the last month of the season. But it's not been consistent enough. With Leonard Fournette in the backfield, we've been terrible. We've actually been a better running football team with White carrying the ball opposed to Leonard Fournette, because Leonard Fournette feels like he is Barry Sanders or somebody, and he's not that type of runner because he doesn't have those fast twitch fibers to stop and go and plant his feet in the ground and make a cut and get upfield. But yet that's the style he wants to pitter pat, and he wants to run the ball, like he's a small back, and you're not. You're a straightforward runner, hit the hole. But apparently, White is a better straightforward runner than Leonard Fournette is at this point, at this stage. And I know a lot of people say, oh, playoff Lenny, but we're not in the playoffs. So it's time for you to produce in the regular season. And going off of what I'm seeing this season, man, we going to get in the playoffs. Even if we do win our division, we're going to get in the playoffs and we're going to be one and done. Hey, and to me, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if that's the way you want to go, hey, we made our bet. You know what I'm saying? The purpose of bringing Brady here was to go out there and win a Super Bowl. We went out there and in our first season with Tom Brady, and we went and won our Super Bowl. So for me, everything else is kind of icing on the cake. Just put more icing on top of the icing. Yeah, we're terrible, and we're not that great. Yeah, I realize that. But I'm okay because I knew what this team was prior to Brady, and we were a rebuilding team. Brady came, we got some pieces that allowed us to go over the top and win the Super Bowl in his first season. Now, as the salary cap and things hit, we're going to be faced with some situations where we're going to have to make some decisions on who we want to keep and who we want to let walk. This past offseason, we've already made a few of those decisions. We decided to let Sue walk, and we decided not to bring back Jason Pierre-Paul. Obviously, the biggest impact on this team probably was losing Sue, because our run defense is at the bottom of the league. So whatever has happened, normally one person isn't that much of an impact, but in this situation, one person is that much of an impact, because maybe it's Pierre-Paul as well. Pierre-Paul was more of a vocal leader, a guy who on the field was more vocal. I don't know how vocal he was in the locker room, but he was a He was one of them leaders that led by example and held everybody accountable. So we got a team here that I'm just gonna say it, man. On the offensive side of the ball, we lack a lot of accountability. And a lot of that starts up front. Now, I said it earlier and I'll say it again. You win and you lose in the trenches. So if you're not strong in the trenches, you're not going to win a whole lot of games. This is basically the same roster from last season, minus Gronk and minus Ali Marpet, Jensen, and Alex Kappa. And also we're missing the Tristan Wirfs. He's been hurt. So anybody that's not pointing the finger at where it needs to be pointed at, and we could blame Leftwich, we could blame Tom Brady, we could blame Todd Bowles, we could blame all those people all we want. But until this offensive line stabilizes, and until this offensive line decides, hey, we're going to block today, and not just every 5 snaps we're going to block somebody, but we're going to block somebody every single down. It don't matter what play you call. It don't matter who you put on the field. From a skill standpoint, obviously that's not the problem. We got Evans, we got Godwin, we got even White. He's a rookie, but he's a skillful player. I like Cade Otton. I like Brait. I like Evans. I like Julio Jones. The skill problem ain't the problem. Tom Brady, for what it's worth, for the way he's played, he's still one of the top 15 quarterbacks in this league. And you can win with that guy as long as you have an offensive line. And the argument that I'm getting from a lot of people is he's washed. He's struggling, my comeback is this. Name me a team, like I said earlier, name me a team that has had a quarterback play great with no line in front of him. It'll never happen. And usually when I ask that, they disappear or they change the topic to something else because it's not possible. Every great offense in this league has an offensive line. Every single one. Every single one. I'm going to go right now and look at the stats. And I'm going to look at the teams with the top offenses. I'm going to try to correlate these teams with the top offenses to their record. So let me see offense. So we're in the offense. 2022 Buccaneers offense is middle of the league. This is just from a yard standpoint. I know they're at the bottom of the league in points. So, but yard wise, they're between 15 and 20. Jacksonville Jaguars is actually a little bit better than the Buccaneers. But these are the top offenses. I'm just gonna name them off and show me how many of these top offenses are playoff teams. All right, Kansas City playoff, Buffalo playoff, Eagles playoffs, Miami Dolphins playoffs. Detroit is 5th. They're in the hunt. Bengals playoff team. Browns they just was eliminated, I think, today with a loss. Vegas pretty much eliminated. 49ers, we just saw them playoffs. Dallas playoffs. So that's a top 10. Three of the top 10 offenses in the league are not in the playoffs currently. Then you have Jacksonville. They're 11th in the league. Am I right on that? Yeah. No, 12th. Dallas is 11th. They're in the playoffs. Seattle is 13th. They're in the playoffs. Chargers is 14th. Ravens, Packers is 15th. This is just from yards. Then you have Saints, Vikings, then the Bucs. Now, below us is Jets, Cardinals, Commanders, Bears, Giants, Patriots, Colts, Steelers, Broncos, Falcons. Again, these are just yards. Now, we want to go to points. The Rams offense is almost dead last in the league from a yard standpoint, which is crazy, but they are. They're not even getting 300 yards per game. But let's go to points. Obviously, the Bucs passing offense is going to be better. We've been down a lot, so I expect us to be near the top of the league, and we're fifth in the league in passing. We've been down a lot, so that's expected. Rushing wise, we're dead last. Dead last. That is offensive line. We're not even averaging as a team 80 yards a game. We don't even have 1,000 yards rushing as a team. And we're now going on 14 games into the season. That is terrible. And that is what offensive line. You can say everything you want about the play calls. You can say everything you want about anything else. At the end of the day, that boils down to play calling. So I don't know how, you want to do anything with no offensive line. Just again, I could do this all day long. So to me, it doesn't really matter. Let me mute this browser. Get that beeping sound out of there. Let's see who shared this. Okay, so all right. Why is this thing on private? It shouldn't be on edit audience. This is why. I don't understand. I do these videos, and a lot of times I don't understand why when I go live on these streams, these videos come up as private when I'm literally posting to like 5 different groups. So I may have to change this setting in all my groups. Hopefully I don't, but we'll see. I think I'm good. I think I'm good there, but let's continue this. So if you don't have no offensive line, again, there's no ability to establish anything. There's no ability to establish an identity to do anything with the ball. I mean, you tell me, how can you establish yourself as a running team if your offensive line is bad? How can you establish your play action and your passing game if your offensive line is bad? Yeah, you got these numbers, but a lot of these numbers are empty numbers. You down a lot, so of course you're gonna be at the top of the league in the passing category. Yeah, and to a certain extent, that's also a jab at Brady numbers, because if I'm going to be that way, I was the same way when we had Jameis. We had a lot of empty yards. He was at the top of the league in a lot of categories, except for the ones that matter, right? Turnovers. He was terrible turning the ball over. Now Brady is not turning the ball over like Jameis was, but if this was Kyle Trask or some other young quarterback behind this offensive line, right now Brady is where is he at? Interception wise, I know he threw 2 today. He has about 6 or 7 interceptions on the season. And let's see. I actually is that even right? I don't think that's right, because he threw 2 today. So I'm not sure if that's right. I think he got about 5 interceptions. But 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That all those numbers, obviously the interceptions, you're at the top of the league at that category. Touchdown wise, because of the struggles on the offensive end, the numbers are not there, but you're still top half of the league there. Passing wise, you're still top half, top 5 there. Completion percentage, you're still in the high 60s, which is still, tops, in that category. So there's a lot of people complaining about, the team. There's a lot of people complaining about, Brady's play. But at the end of the day, when we go back at the end of the season and we measure up his numbers against the top quarterbacks in the league, since I'm here, we're going to do that right now. We're going to go to individual numbers, and we're going to look at it from that perspective, so I can get you, you guys a better idea of, hey, everything ain't on Brady. Like, he's a quarterback, and yeah, he takes every snap. He touches the ball every single play. But for a quarterback to be successful, so much has to go right. For a lot of years, when Alex Smith was in San Francisco, up until the point where Harbaugh came, people was calling him a bust because nothing was right around him. There was chaos around him. There was no established receivers. There was no established offensive coordinator. There was nothing but a quarterback. The offensive line was in shambles. No identity. And then Harbaugh shows up, former quarterback, and then the rest is history. Alex Smith is probably going to go down. He very, very good career. I'll say very good career. Some of his numbers, he's going to finish, winning percentage wise. He's got some really good numbers for his career. And everywhere he went after that, all he did was win. So was he really that bad in San Francisco, or was everything around him that bad in San Francisco? That's the question of where we need to be talking right now as a Buccaneer fan with this team. I understand it don't look good. It ain't that good on the offensive end, but how much of it is Brady, and then how much of it is everything else around him not working? So I already read, let's go to the numbers that matter, right? Completion percentage. And I know, dink and dunk, but that's part of it. So, Geno Smith is leading the league with completing 72% of his passes, almost 73%. Joe Burrow is 69. Mac Jones from New England, 68%. Tua, 68%. Hurts, 68%. Stafford, 68%. Prescott, 67%. Matt Ryan, and we see, what New Indianapolis done with Matt Ryan, but even he's got a high percentage completion. Jimmy Garoppolo, 67%. Andy Dalton, 66%. Herbert, 66%. Murray, 66%. And then Brady, sitting at 13th, 14th, somewhere around there at 66%. Daniel Jones, 66%. Patrick Mahomes, 65%. Trevor Lawrence, 65%. Kenny Pickett, 65%. Jared Goff, basically 65%. 64.9. Tannehill, 64.9. That's 65%. Cousins, 64%. Aaron Rodgers, 64%. So I think the barometer here that's set if you're in the high 60s, if you're above 65% completion percentage, you're in good company, and Brady is above that. Yards per average. Let's see, Tua leads the league with that. He's averaging 9 yards per completion, and Brady is near the bottom. And again, what does that say? He's 31 out of 36 quarterbacks. Obviously they got some wide receivers in here if you've thrown a pass, but out of the quarterbacks, 33 quarterbacks, he's 31. The only quarterbacks that is lower in completion percentage is Kenny Pickett, Kyler Murray out of starting quarterbacks, 6.4%. Now, the leaders is 9%. The average is probably somewhere around about 7, between 7, I'd say about 7, 7%. 7 yards per pass, per reception. So again, what does that say? You're checking down a lot. That's number one, what it's saying. Number two is saying that you don't have much time to drive the ball downfield. Tua has time to drive the ball downfield. Jalen Hurts, with his ability to escape the pocket, has time to drive it downfield. Mahomes, same thing. Geno Smith, all of a sudden, Seattle Seahawks, for years when we said Russell Wilson didn't have a good offensive line, Geno Smith is driving the ball downfield. Ryan Tannehill driving the ball downfield. Jimmy Garoppolo, Burrow, Allen, Dalton, Fields, Goff, Mariota. He just got benched, but even he had a 7.5 yards per average, throwing the ball. My man, Boss Hall, what's good, baby? What's good? Brady should have stayed retired and married. Well, I mean, maybe he should have, but he didn't. I don't know a whole lot about that whole situation. I really don't care because it don't got nothing to do with football. So, players' personal lives, that's their personal lives, and for me, I don't care to care. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I always been. I just keep it to sports, and for whatever reason, brought him back. Obviously, we know the situation, so it is what it is there. But the NFL touchdown leader is Mahomes with 25. Aaron Rodgers has 22, and Brady has 16. And I think he threw 2 more today, so that's 18. And all these numbers are update. But what I'm saying is, top of the league. Interceptions, he was number 1 in that category. For as bad as this offensive line is played, Brady has still been sacked the least amount of time. In the league. He's only taken 18 sacks. And bro, I don't care what anybody says. This offensive line is trash. So if he's the least sacked quarterback with a bad offensive line, why is that? Because he's getting rid of the ball. He's throwing balls away. So some of these passes where people think, oh, he missed the throw, maybe he just throwing it away. Maybe. I'm not Brady. I'm not in his head, but watching these games, we see what's going on. And I'm a lot of fans gonna ignore that part. I'm not gonna ignore that part just because it sounds good to just point the finger at Brady and Byron Leftwich and the other guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do that. We got a Facebook user here says Ali Marpet retiring started the domino effect on the offensive line. Jensen got injured in training camp, and that line hasn't had any consistency all season. Agree with that. I agree with that. So we want to start, pointing fingers, man. Let's start there. Let's start there, right? Let's start there because that's the only way things gonna improve is fixing it up front. But again, that's next season. There's nothing that's gonna happen this season to improve anything. It is what it is. So the coaches, they have to figure out a way to protect. And I know, a lot of people say we can't just run tempo all game long. Well, that seemed to be the only time we actually do something is when we run tempo. So maybe we should run tempo a little bit more than we do, just to get the defense off balance, keep them on the field a little bit longer. I don't even care about running the ball anymore. Y'all saw me. Y'all see me just read that. We average less than 80 yards a game as a team rushing. I don't even care if we pass the ball anymore. If Brady not gonna be here next year and he decide to move on, you know what? That's his decision. Let's end this year doing what we at least can do a little bit. Throw the ball. Throw 40, 50 passes a game. I don't care. If that's the only way we're going to move the ball and set up the run, then that's just what we got to do. But trying to run the ball, matter of fact, I'm okay if we running white. I'm not handing the ball off to Leonard Fournette anymore. We splitting carries. Man. I'm not handing the ball off to him no more. I've been calling this dude Gregory Hines for about 3-4 years. He's a tap dancer. I don't like tap dancers as my running backs because in the NFL, those holes don't stay open that long. They don't stay open that long. So you got to hit the hole when they're there. With a bad offensive line, you have to hit the hole when it's there. If you tap dance, that hole closed up, tackle for a loss. I mean, for me, that's just what it is, man. I really don't really don't see why Todd Bowles is even still trying to run the ball. We're deep in the season now. Very deep. And we are the worst running team in the league. Boss Hog, I'm not sure. William Graves is probably sleeping. He probably got a hangover. He probably let's see. I'm gonna message him. But I don't know if I want William to come on. He might cut me off too many times. Cause he still think this defense good. I've been telling people, man, listen, as a we saw a top ranked defense today. We saw it. We saw a top ranked defense, what they look like. Now, I'm just gonna go out on the limb. San Francisco defense, what we saw today, they've done this all season. And in the last 6 games, they have shut out teams in the second half completely, where they're not even scoring points. So I ask, again, statistically, it says we're a top-ranked defense. But when you watch the tape, we don't play like a top-ranked defense. We don't get any pressure without the blitz. That's number one. We don't get any pressure without the blitz. So therefore, if you can't generate pressure without blitzing, then you're not that good rushing a passer. I know the 3-4 defense is kind of meant to be that way, But there's a lot of 3-4 teams out there that could just rush 4 and still get pressure. We got to bring 5-6 guys. Half the time we don't even get there, and then our cornerbacks, they can't cover. Jamal Dean is our best guy, and everybody else is replaceable. And yeah, I said it. Everybody else outside of Dean, from a cornerback standpoint, I'm not talking about the safeties. From a cornerback standpoint, everybody else is replaceable. I don't know why I always forget the kid name. You guys know what I'm talking about. The young guy in the secondary. Obviously, he can stay. He's been a staple on the defense since the day we drafted him. So he's good. But there's a lot of holes that need to be filled. I'm going to say something else that I've been saying for a long time, and I fully believe this. Let me see here. My man, Shy Rogers says we got too many injuries, but it's a dub though for this season. Yeah. I mean, we do have injuries, but at the same time, don't the rest of the league have injuries too? I mean, there's some teams that are in worse injury situations than we are, but yet they still manage to make it work. So I don't really like to use the injuries as an excuse, because as an organization, your job is to build depth, to set yourself up to be prepared for these type of situations with injuries and whatnot. My man Boss Hall says, is Todd Bowles one and done? I don't like to say, I don't like the one and done mentality, but yeah, he could be. He's really going to be one and done if they figure out a way not to win this division and get into the playoffs. That's all they got to do is win this division to secure a playoff spot. This division is freaking trash. You're probably going to have a team below 500 make it. I don't see the Bucs finishing above 500. I don't. Let's see. My man says we got a lot of heavy hitters out too, so not too many teams going deep in the depth chart like we are at this point. I'm not so sure about that, man. I'm not so sure about that. I mean, again, we got injuries, but for me, it's part of the game. So you just, it's the next man up mentality, right? That's, if you ever played sports, that's what we all believe in, next man up. Boss Hawk says, not a strong franchise when their coach is out after 1 year. How Cleveland of you? We not a strong franchise. I'm gonna be real. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back a decade. What type of franchise had we been the 7 years prior to the last 3 we had with Tom Brady? We weren't a strong franchise. We weren't making the playoffs. We weren't winning a lot of games. We weren't finishing above 500. The 110-win season we had was with Raheem Morris, and he had a team that was younger. Y'all remember that? Young and hungry. And Josh Freeman at the quarterback. And he went out there and won 10 games in the season with that group. And the majority of those guys, after they left the Buccaneers, weren't on NFL rosters. I'm going to say half of that team after they left here weren't on NFL rosters. That means we had a team full of guys that was not capable of being productive consistently enough to stay on the field after leaving the Bucs. So, no, we're not a strong franchise. I hate to say it. We won a Super Bowl. Brady brought our success. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, for years, Denver was just struggling to get over the hump, and then, Peyton Manning show up and they win the Super Bowl. Manning wasn't leading the team like Brady was, but just that aura of Manning gave them that extra juice they needed. My man says, I'll get to you, Boss Hog, because I am gonna say something on that. We weren't making the playoffs. BA came and changed the culture. Brady came in, they threw it all away. I'm not so sure about that. See, this is where a lot of people, for me, yeah, we was winning, right? But I'm not so sure BA changed the culture. He came in with a new attitude and a new type of fire that we hadn't had from a head coach. But as far as changing the culture, we were still undisciplined as a team. We still got a lot of dumb penalties under BA. We still made some mistakes. The same mistakes we making now, we made them under BA. The only difference is we made up for them because we scored a lot of points. We still had these problems. Remember, folks, BA handed Todd Bowles this team. He could be the coach this year for this team. He decided that this is the time for him to hand the team over to BA. Now, this plan was in place. This plan hadn't been in place for a lot of years. Since BA came, the plan to hand the team over had been in place. So the move didn't catch me off guard. We've talked about this for some years on the Rat Pack Sports Show. We've talked about this, on the show for a while. So how much did he change? There's a lot of rumors going on. He says he think Brady pushed him out. BA said he's coaching this year, and all of a sudden he wasn't, and Brady is back. I mean, listen, there's been a lot going around. I can't confirm, any of this stuff. So everything is just rumors. Rumors. I don't have any first-hand sources to confirm any of this stuff. This has all been rumors. I'm not sure, but at the same time, if it is, hey, as a head coach, you can't let a guy push you out. BA job was secure, right? His job was secure. He wasn't going anywhere. So he could have stayed. And if Brady decided at that point not to come back, so be it. We just rebuilding without Brady. I've said it a bunch of times on this show. I was ready for the rebuild. It didn't matter to me. So Brady didn't have to come back for me. I was ready for the rebuild. I was ready to see Kyle Trask step in and get his chance. That's where I was at. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, you're the head coach. So the Brady power movers probably, whatever. Aaron Rodgers power move the Green Bay Packers. I don't know. You look around to all these teams where they quarterbacks are the man. They want to be a part of the process. They don't want to be left out high and dry. None of that. So you know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, there might be some legs to that. Um, but at the end of the day, BA stepped down. So I mean, BA could have stayed on as the head coach, and we could have just did this thing with Kyle Trask, and Brady could have stayed retired, and it wouldn't have mattered to me because the whole point with bringing Brady here wasn't to go to 3 straight Super Bowls. It was just to win one. We got the Super Bowl, so I'm not being greedy. I'm not being greedy about it at all. So everything after that Super Bowl win for me was just, nothing. But let's get the boss hog because this is a question he asked Lamar Jackson in 2023. Question mark. Nope. Nope. Listen. Lamar Jackson turned down top 5 money as a quarterback because he wanted to get paid more money than um uh Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun Watson got a fully guaranteed contract from the Browns, which I think is the dumbest contract ever for, but it's the Browns, and the Browns did it, so he wanted to get paid more than Watson, where smart teams ain't gonna blow their salary cap like that. They're gonna have outs. They're gonna have clauses in their contracts just in case of injury or whatnot. And now you see Lamar Jackson is injured, and he's a running quarterback, and he runs a lot, and they depend on that running for the Baltimore Ravens offense to get going. So he turned down that money. Bucks ain't giving him that. They're not giving him that. Right now we got about $3 million on the cap. That's all we got. So if we bring in Lamar Jackson, expect to lose Levante David and every other single free agent, big name free agent we got going in the next season. Because we don't have that money. Brady's contract is only hitting us minimum on the salary cap because he took a lot of it in bonuses. So his cap hit is nearly minuscule. So we got $3 million on the cap, and Brady contract is only about $800,000 against the cap. Not even. I think maybe $1 million, something like that. So now you got to add Lamar Jackson contract to the salary cap of a team that's already in cap situation. I just don't see it. Financially, I just don't see it. Would it be a good fit? I don't know. How good would Evans be with Lamar Jackson throwing on the ball? He's not as accurate as Brady, and he doesn't, let's be real. He doesn't read defenses as good as Brady. So, would it be worth us to keep Evans, Godwin, and some of those guys as receivers with a quarterback like Lamar Jackson? Is it worth their cap hit along with everything else for a quarterback that's going to run for 1,000 yards every season? I don't think so. So, I don't see that happening. I really don't. For a lot of fans, it would be nice. They would be ecstatic, but we'll be in a similar Gee, I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, so no, I don't think so. Russell Wilson asked for that kind of stuff, and you know, you see what's going on in Denver with Russell Wilson right now. Not real good. So, as for the rest of this season, the Bucs they were in trouble, man. We're in trouble, and I don't see anything changing at all because we just not that good up front. Just not that good up front. When you're not that good up front, you can only cover, so many problems before things become too big of a problem. You get exposed. So, this game today in San Francisco was us getting exposed by a defense that was stout, and they exposed every single bit of problems that we had on the offensive side of the ball. And I'm not gonna sit here and be that person or be that fan, just point fingers at the skill positions and say, "Oh, it's his fault and it's his fault." Man, we don't have no protection. I don't care what. I don't care. You don't have protection. Quarterback is not gonna do much. At the end of the day, that's all it is. That's all it is. So, we got four games left? Let's see. 4 games left. Actually, yeah, 4 games left. Bengals, Cardinals, Panthers, Falcons. And I can tell you right now, we probably lose that Bengals game. And we got winnable. Cardinals game may be winnable, but it's in Arizona. Panthers game, we've already beaten. We've already lost to them. In the Falcons game, we nearly lost to them. So we got to secure those last 2 games of the season to secure our playoff spot. But I'm not gonna be, happy about how we gonna crutch ourselves into the playoffs. You'll be 9-7. 9-8. No, 8-9. That's what I meant. You'll be 8-9 going into the playoffs. Possible 9-8, 8-9. And really the only team we have to beat Carolina, because right now they have the game up on us because they beat us head to head. And Atlanta, we got to beat them. New Orleans is out. They're out. So, we're going to take a quick break because I want to keep these podcast episodes to 1 hour. So, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back, and then I'm going to jump into some of the other games in today's matchups and get into those. So, with that being said, we're going to take a break. We'll be back on the other side. This is Rat Pack Sports Show. We'll be back. All right. Rat Pack Sports Show. We are back. We are live talking Buccaneers and NFL football from this past Sunday or today. We are live, Rat Pack Radio, WRPR, also streaming online, ratpacksports.com, and we have the live video feed going on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Rat Pack Sports Show, both Rat Pack Sports Show Facebook pages, and my personal Facebook page as well. So appreciate everybody that's on the live stream right now, interacting with us. Yeah. So Boss Hog, in the Rat Pack Sports Show group just shot me a picture of I guess Tua got not Tua, but Russell Wilson got knocked out of the game today. Bro, I almost didn't recognize this picture here. Oh yeah, that's him. So let me see if I can blow this picture up in well, he's in La La Land, obviously. But as you guys can see, let me see if I can put that in the right there. Yeah, he's out of there. He's out of there. I didn't, obviously I was watching the other game, so I didn't get a chance to peep that game. But yeah, I got a lot of people commenting, on the Bucs, and they don't like it. And Boss Hall says Tua is struggling. Yeah, he's struggling. Chargers is one of them teams. You don't know what you're gonna get from them. They've been this way for about 2-3 years. They can lose to the worst team in the league, and then they can come out the next week and beat the best team in the league. We've seen them do it time and time again. So tonight, the Chargers everybody expected them to be at the beginning of this season has showed up tonight. So we'll see if they can hang on to this game. They're currently 17-7. Third quarter just started, just 11 minutes in, and we'll see what they do. Miami is putting some heat on them. And listen, Miami is a tough team themselves. Tua might be struggling, but that Miami team is all season long has been consistent. They've been playing well, and some people has them as his sleeper in the AFC, and they just called roughing the passer on a poor man. Listen, NFL. Here comes a rant. NFL, can you please get rid of the I guess that's a roughing the passer, let me throw the flag. You got to stop doing that. If the replay committee could just go in and replay a touchdown, and they can go in and automatically look at replays, they can automatically go and buzz down to the referees if they think somebody got hit too hard and pull them out of the game. You got to stop it with this powder puff football that's going on with the quarterbacks, because you're changing ball games with very, very bad roughing the passer penalties. Look, Miami just got a sack. That sack was about a 10-yard loss, 10 to 12-yard loss. You turn the 10 to 12-yard loss where they were inside the 10-yard line on a sack into a 15-yard gain for what? Because he landed on the quarterback too hard? This is football, man. This is football. And you got to stop. You got to get out of these guest judgment calls and make the obvious calls. And the ones that's questionable, keep your flag in your pocket. Keep the flag in your pocket, because those are not, listen, there's more now, because the NFL mantra is let's protect the quarterbacks. Let's protect the quarterback. So you can't even touch the quarterback helmet anymore. They'll call you for a personal foul, roughing the quarterback. But yet, a receiver could get power bomb, they could get suplex, They can, get thrown down to the ground. They can take helmet to helmet contact, but the quarterback is excluded because the quarterback is the important position. And man, listen, call the obvious. Everything else is part of the game. And I'm saying this, and I don't care, you know what I'm saying, if my team benefited from a roughing the passer or not. I just want the game to be called evenly and fair. And this is why I go on these rants and I talk about the difference between today's football and the football of years past, where the years past football was truly a gladiator sport. Those guys played in conditions that football is meant to be played in. It's meant to have defenses take your head off coming over the middle. It's meant to get hit hard. It's meant for a defender to decleat you if your feet leave the ground to make a catch. That's football. I understand the spearing, the using the crown of your helmet, all of that. Okay, I understand that. But what I don't like is the sack. What in Chargers just punted anyway, but they lost field position. But what I don't like is a regular sack, something that would have been a regular sack 3, 4, 5 years ago. All of a sudden now it's a roughing the passer. And instead of being in 3rd and long, you're in 1st and 10 now. And the NFL think, this is good. That's why I'm the one person that you would never hear say, "Oh, today's football is better to watch. These guys are faster, they're stronger." I don't believe that. Because to me, obviously you got all the room in the world to be faster when you can't touch them. You can't bump them off the line. The field is wide open. There's no restriction to these guys running down the field anymore. I just saw an old video a couple of days ago of the old Pro Bowl competition where they used to run the 40-yard dash against each other. Darryl Green was one of the fastest dudes in the league, was the fastest player in the league for like 20 years, up to the day he retired almost. Guys have always been fast. Okay, have they been, does it matter for a receiver to run a 4.32 or a 4.29 or anything if he ain't got no hands? Or he can't translate that speed to the game field? I don't care about that speed. There's always been guys that's been very fast in the league. Now, those fast guys have a chance to make it because you've made these rules so soft that they're no longer afraid to to go across the middle anymore. They're not worried about getting their head taken off on a catch. You can't do it anymore. So it's made the average receiver good. That is what the rules have done. So, all of these passing records and everything like that have been broken, all these receiving records that have been broken, to me, they don't mean much because it's too easy to pass the ball now. It's too easy. Way too easy to pass the ball. So I'm not going to make a big deal about, Pat Mahomes, throwing for 400 yards in the game. Throwing for 5,000 yards in the season. It's too easy. And he's too good for the game to be that easy. You get receivers And I'm finna call it out because I'm just that way. Mike Evans, he's a very good receiver, and he's had 10 straight years of 1,000. Well, he's got 10,000 yards receiving in his career. Only receiver to go over 1,000 yards receiving every year, of his career so far. 10 straight years of 1,000 yards. But at the end of the day, just because he has that record, I'm not placing him in the class with Randy Moss, a Terrell Owens, a Jerry Rice, a Tim Brown, Chris Carter. I'm not putting him in that conversation because I watched those dudes' whole careers. I'm old enough to say I watched their careers, and I saw the type of catches they made in the traffic they made, and in the type of catches they made, big game catches. When everybody knew they was getting the ball, they still made the play. But I'm still not putting him in that conversation. I don't even think Evans is better than some of the guys of his peers right now. I mean, if you gave me a choice to pick one receiver in the league today to start a team, I'm gonna pick Hopkins. I'm picking Hopkins because Hopkins has been dominant and he's had 1,000 different quarterbacks. 1,000 different quarterbacks, 1,000 different offensive systems. But to me, he's a complete package. He's got the size, he's got the quickness, he's got the hands, he's got the speed to take it to the house, he's got the ability to run every route in the book. He can go across the middle, he can run it up the sideline on you. In most of the teams he's been on, he's been the only guy, and he still produces. But that's just my opinion on today's league, and my same argument goes for basketball as well. It's just too easy. The rules have been tweaked to favor the offense, and it's taking defenses out of the game. And the teams that are still able to play defenses are very good. They're very good. But the majority of the teams in the league can't play defense. So that is my thing. But I'm going to go down, get into some of these results. Then I'm going to go into my little football pick'em deal and then talk a little bit of, fantasy. Tyreek Hill just scored again. Now he's going to hobble like he's really hurt. Come on, man. Stop faking it. Nah, I ain't gonna say he's faking it, but stop being the actor. You just shot past everybody, and then when you get in the end zone, you're gonna act like you're hurting. And now he's running off the field, and now he's dancing and hopping and doing all that stuff. See, I told you, man. He's trying to be a showman. Unless he was just, hop skipping into the end zone. But that right there don't look like he's hurt. Now watch. He's gonna go in. And they didn't show it. All right, so we're gonna start with Thursday night's game in Vegas, where we saw Baker Mayfield pull a Tom Brady, where he was down double digit scores, was down basically down 2 scores, and came back to win that game. Only been there two days. And this is a big blow to the Vegas Raiders. They were on a little winning streak, and they did have a outside shot of doing something. I don't know if they would have made it, but they did have an outside shot. and they couldn't hold the league. And this is football, folks. The games you're supposed to win, you don't, and the games that you're not supposed to win, you do. Now, I think I picked the Rams to win this game. I did all my picks. Like the way I do my pick 'em pools is I just go out about 5-6 weeks and I just make all my picks at once. So therefore I don't forget them. So when I made my pick for the Rams to win this game, I was with the expectation that they would have Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford. But apparently they weren't there. Both of those guys are hurt. And I just got lucky on this one. Because if I could have went back and changed it, but I didn't think about it until after the fact. So if I could have went back and changed it, I would have took Vegas. But Baker Mayfield came in and he did show why he was a high draft pick. And he's been inconsistent throughout his career, but he showed some of that ability with the Rams, and I think a lot of that is coaching and just having better players around him. Baker Mayfield has not had these type of players around him. He's definitely not had a offensive coordinator like the head coach is. So we'll see. I think Baker Mayfield would remain the quarterback for them for the foreseeable future. But we'll see if they can duplicate this performance in the next week. If they can't, then that Vegas win won't mean anything. They're obviously out of the playoffs as well. The Rams, I don't think they're gonna, get in. But all right, so today's matchups, you got New York Buffalo. I would say upset, but looked like the Jets were gonna pull something off. They fought Buffalo hard. Buffalo won the game 20-12. But if I'm a Jets fan, man, I don't have nothing to be disappointed about. With this season, with the way this season has went, and how well they're playing on the defensive end and the offensive end. And Mike White, I think they have something in that guy. And I don't know if they go back to Zach Wilson. I don't. Then maybe you move on from or you keep Zach Wilson on the roster as a number 2. And Mike White is your starter going in the next season. I think White is older. He's been around a little bit longer. And he's been good since being put into the starting lineup. He's had he's had a good season. Not good, but I mean, he's played good in his role. Oh, he didn't touch him. That's a touchdown. Oh, he didn't. He got tackled. Got to touch him, man. All right, so Cleveland, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's been playing great football. Defenses finally came around. Offenses, put things together. Joe Burrow is doing his thing. And remember, I mean, Cincinnati did represent the AFC in the Super Bowl this past season. So, this team is still, one of the better teams in the AFC. They just kind of got off to a slow start. But now they seem to be picking things up. The next game is, obviously against the, Buccaneers. So they're going to look to extend that win streak and keep things going. Bucs will have their hands full. I know that for sure. Cleveland Browns, on the other hand, with everything that has went on this season, Um, you just chalk it up. You came into this season knowing that, hey, you may not make it. You weren't gonna get Deshaun Watson back until week 12, and you were just hoping that Jacoby Brissett could do some things to keep you in it until he gets back. But apparently, Watson has some rust to knock off. He's been out of football for a while, and it's going to take some time for him to get his timing back. So, Browns fans, just be patient. I don't think picking him, trading for him was about this coming season. I think it was about next season. So, look for next season for the Cleveland Browns to be a factor in the AFC. Once they get a full off season with Watson as a quarterback and get a few more pieces. I think they might need another. Obviously, they got the running backs. They have the offensive line. I just think you need a few more weapons on the offensive side, preferably wide receiver. Yeah, I think Njoku is a good quarterback, and Herbert just missed a wide open throw. That's 2 straight plays. He missed a wide open throw on the series on the play before on the second down. That would have been a touchdown on the corner route. And then he went to the seam route. That guy was covered, and he had the flat route running back wide open. But hey, it's football. Quarterbacks miss throws. Apparently, the Bucs fans, quarterbacks are not allowed to miss throws. That's what they say. All right, so Houston and Dallas was a competitive game. Houston surprising. Dallas gave them everything they could handle. Dallas had to win this game with about a minute left. Jeez, they were down 23-20 and scored a touchdown to go up late in the game. Houston, for everything is worth, they've been playing hard all season. It's just not there. I think they understand this is about rebuilding. I don't think they were expecting to be, a good team. They gave up a lot. They do have a lot coming from a draft pick standpoint, and they got a lot of rebuilding to do. But they gave Dallas everything they can handle, and I think they scored off of 2 turnovers that was caused. But Dallas has to stay in the race because they have to keep pace with who is it? Why can't I get who's the top team in Philadelphia? They have to keep pace with Philadelphia, so they have to continue to win. So that matchup they have head to head against the Eagles later in the season. I think they play them next week, if I'm not mistaken. Could possibly be for the division at that point. Upset. This is my upset. And I picked them in my picks. You guys will see that when I post them. I'll post my picks in the Rat Pack Sports Show group. But I picked Detroit to go in and beat Minnesota, and that is exactly what happened. Even though Kirk Cousins threw for 425 yards, Detroit, they play hard. They have one of the top offenses in the league. Jared Goff has seemed to put everything together, and I think this is third season in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. Second or third season. But he's put everything together, and that Detroit offense is the real deal. And this is the funny thing about that Detroit offense. There's not one single name on that offense outside of Jared Goff. And the only reason we know about Jared Goff is because he was on the Rams. The Rams got rid of him to bring in Matthew Stafford. Obviously, that worked. They won the Super Bowl. But Detroit puts the beat down on Minnesota. And honestly, it says 34-23. The game really wasn't even that close. I mean, Minnesota scored this touchdown with about 40-some seconds left in the game to make it 34-23. So Detroit is one of them teams. They've secretly found themselves in position to make a run for a playoff spot. And this is a team where I don't think anybody wants to play. They have 4 games left, just like everybody else, but these are their 4 games. Jets, that's winnable. Panthers, that is winnable. Bears, that's winnable. And they've already beaten the Packers, but I think that'll be a different game. But those are 4 winnable games for Detroit. Detroit could possibly win 3 of these next 4 games and be sitting at 9-8. And still on the outside looking in if some things don't work in their favor as far as some of these other teams in front of them that they need to lose. So, yeah, Detroit, man, they're exciting. They play hard. The coaches, got them guys, going down the right path, and that's good to see. Detroit, they deserve to have a good team. That's a great fan base, and they've been through a lot of years of struggle. They've had some very good players on that offensive side of the ball over the years, so only not do anything with it. Calvin Johnson's career, that it was wasted. Matthew Stafford's career was wasted. Barry Sanders' career was wasted. They had Herman Moore, who was a really good wide receiver in his days, and all that stuff, was wasted. Detroit has never been a serious contender at any point. I mean, they've made the playoffs a few times, but they haven't been that team. But they went into Tennessee, and they got a great win today in Tennessee. That is a good football team in Tennessee, and they went in there, won 36-22, dominating game, really. This game was never close, and that's another team that is quietly getting better. And I think in a year or two, Jacksonville is probably going to be a tough day at the park for whoever they play. Another game here, New York, Philadelphia. Not going to say much on it. Thought this game would be a lot closer. Philadelphia is just clicking on all cylinders right now, and 48-22 says they're the best team in the NFC. Baltimore edges out Pittsburgh. J.K. Dobbins ran for 120 yards. Baltimore is playing without Lamar Jackson right now, who's out, hurt. He's out hurt, and they still, was able to pull off a win in Pittsburgh. That is a rivalry type game, so anytime you can win inside of your division, that is a plus. Kansas City and Denver, we just saw that game. Kansas City won 38-28. Russell Wilson was knocked out of the game. And Denver still was managed to keep the game competitive and keep the game within reach. But KC is a strong team, and it was going to be hard to even get a home win against that team. So next two games, we talked about Tampa Bay, San Francisco, till we're blue in the face. So I'm not going to get too much in depth with that anymore. In the Carolina Seattle game, that is kind of shocking. Carolina Panthers moved to Sam Darnold as a starter. They go to Seattle. Even, it's still a tough place to play. They go to Seattle and they get a win 30-24. And it's tough. So those are the games that's going on today. I went on today. We have the Sunday night game between Miami and LA. I want to say LA is currently winning this game. And Miami, is right there. It's a good, close game, hard fought on both sides. And, Chargers brought their, A game today. Ladies and gentlemen, if I look uncomfortable, it's because I am, because I have a freaking sciatic nerve problem and my back is on fire right now. So if anybody ever had that, you know what it feels like. It's uncomfortable to sit down, uncomfortable to stand up. So just trying to make it through right now. That's it. Just trying to make it through. Tomorrow night game is Arizona New England. This game still for the Patriots may have some playoff implications. For them, they still are kind of in the race, in the hunt for a wild card spot. So they do need to go into Arizona and secure this win. Arizona is pretty much out of it. They're pretty much done. All right. So with that being said, let me take another quick break. I'll be back. I just gotta clear my head. My back is on fire and not really thinking clearly. So most of my attention is on this back. So, yeah, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be back right after this. All right. We are back. Just had to take a little quick stand-up break, man, to get up and move around a little bit, man. This back is it's no joke. 20-14, Chargers still have the league. Miami is advancing the ball. They are moving the ball, across midfield right now at the point. So real quick, right now, what we're gonna do, and appreciate my my people on Twitch that are checking me out, checking the show out. But and one thing to it with the Bucs San Fran game, man, you never want to see guys get injured, especially guys that have kind of worked as hard as he has to get to where he's at this stage of his career. Samuel was injured. They're saying it's an ankle, and if that is all it is, hopefully it's not broken. And hopefully it's not broken, but it did look real nasty on that play with his foot getting like caught underneath a player, and then his leg kind of like getting bent up the way he did. Normally, in most cases, you see a lot of knees get blown out in with that particular play, but they're saying it's an ankle, and there weren't any ankle. They did X-rays. The X-rays came back, nothing was broken, but obviously, they would probably do an MRI to make sure there's no ligament, damage in that ankle. But if that's all it is, then he's probably not going to be out for maybe like 4 to 6 weeks, and they should get him back in the playoffs. But even though my team was playing them, you just hate to see guys, go down like that. Just guys like him that are just selfish, and whatever it takes to win, that's what he would do to, help the team win. And there's not many players out there like that. We have a guy on our team and Mike Evans who is similar to Debo, just, do his job, but also be the first one to congratulate a teammate if they're doing well, and just he's a team first guy, and that is always somebody you want on part of your roster. So hopefully they could get him back for the postseason, and which it looks like it should. If it's just a high ankle sprain, 1 month, you got a month left for the regular season. You can get him back in the postseason at some type of capacity. Obviously, you won't have a first round bye because you don't have the top record in the NFC, but you should be able to get him back. And we're at where Eagles clinch a playoff. That did happen, so they're the first team in the NFL to clinch a playoff spot. And Bears were eliminated today. Broncos were eliminated. Texans been eliminated for a while. Playoff wise, Jacksonville, while they're kind of out it, they're still in it because you have this 7 spot here, and you have the Jets, but you also have the Patriots, Chargers in front of them. I mean, it's going to be tough for the Jags. I would consider this season a positive success after what happened last season and the debacle that happened with Urban Meyer. If a situation doesn't show you that it is about coaching, this Jacksonville Jaguars situation, the New York Jets situation, should all show everybody that it is about coaching. Detroit Lions, I'll say the same thing there too. I'm just glad that the Detroit Lions stuck with this guy as the head coach. Early on, you seen this guy wore his emotions on his sleeves. The players loved him. He was very passionate. You saw the team playing hard for him. They were losing a lot of close games over the last couple of years. Couldn't get over that hump the last few years. They finally this year start winning those close games. They've learned how to win those close games through losing those close games. That's how you build. You can skip the process sometimes, but I guarantee you, Detroit, Jacksonville, the Jets will have a longer term success than the Giants. They will have a longer term of success because they've built the teams the right way, and they took their time and let those guys go through the growing pains and let those guys develop. The owners of those three franchises have done an excellent job of starting from scratch. The reason why I keep drinking water, when you're talking a lot, throat gets dry. So I drink a lot of water to keep throat moist. And you know, stay stay on that. But yeah, you have the playoff race here. Jets are 7-6. They're in that 7 spot. You got New England Chargers. Both of them could win their games. Then you got a tie. It would be a tie from a record standpoint, but I think New England beat the Jets earlier. I think so. New England would probably jump in that 7 spot. And New England has a tiebreaker over the Chargers because they have a better winning percentage in their conference games. So while Jacksonville is probably out of it, and that's why that loss by the Raiders on Thursday night hurt, because they could have been right up there in this conversation at 6-7. But being 2 games back with 4 left, you really don't you don't control your own destiny. The Jets have control of their own destiny. All they have to do is continue to win. I think if the Jets win 2 more games, that would pretty much lock that playoff spot up. The Jets schedule the rest of the season. You got Lions, Jaguars, Seahawks, Dolphins. Those are tough games. Dolphins will be a tough game. Seahawks will be a tough game. They could lose out. Maybe watching the Jets play, they're a tough team, but the Lions are tough. Jaguars are tough. We know the Seahawks are tough. And we're watching the Dolphins right now. We know they're tough. So that's a tough 4 games for them. The New England next 4 games. Raiders, Bengals, Dolphins, Bills. They could win one of those 3 games. And that is actually they play the Cardinals tomorrow night. So they beat the Cardinals, they beat the Raiders. That'll put them at 8-6. Is that right? Bengals? Yeah. So they'll probably lose to the Bengals, lose to the Dolphins, lose to the Bills. They will finish at 9-7. I mean, 8-9. Have to get used to that odd number. And then you have the Jaguars. Oh no, the Chargers. And the Chargers schedule is Titans, Colts, Rams, Broncos. So neither one of these teams have an easy road. They all, gonna leave them battle tested. If they do make it into the postseason. So and then you look at the NFC, you have a 2-way, obviously that tie with the Giants and the Washington Commanders is probably going to be the thing that gets both of them into the playoffs. Because that tie is like a half a point, a half a win. It doesn't count negatively against you. It counts positive. So that is a half a game. But you still have Seattle. You still have Detroit at 6-7, and then the Packers are 5-8, and which I don't think they'll get in. It's gonna have to be something miraculous that happens for the Packers to get into the playoffs this year. I think they're done. All right, so with that being said, man, it was a great show. Again, I appreciate everybody that tuned in and made this show what it was. I have the podcast up here pretty soon. The video podcast will be posted up also, and the regular podcast tomorrow. I have that ready to go. So with that being said, this has been the first Sunday night we've been on the air for quite some time. Always enjoy having these Sunday night shows. I feel like I wanted to get on here and vent a little bit after watching this Bucs 49ers game and talk about some of the action here this past week or this in the league today and Thursday. So with that being said, I'm gonna get on and get out of here. You know how it go. And we will see you guys on Wednesday night. We will be live Wednesday night. So we will see you guys Wednesday night. I'm your host, Devo. And for everybody at the Rat Pack, we appreciate y'all tuning in. And we will catch you guys on Wednesday night. Same place, different time, 8 p.m. Be there, be square. This is Rat Pack Sports Show, man. Signing out for the night. Peace.